Okay, Haru, just let me know when you're ready, man. Baba Kelechi be coming in.
All right, I'm ready.
I mean, you can go ahead and hit up on Facebook.
All right.
I already let as many as I could know that we was running a little late,
Okay
but
then.
Baba
Okay,
Kelechi.
I have his bio.
Oh no, I don't need. I don't really need it.
Okay.
I'm gonna do it a different way, Bama.
Okay, no problem.
You know, I'm gonna open up. I'm gonna do it a different way, but I'm gonna let him because I want to congratulate him on his recent
Chieftain.
stuff too. Yeah, Kelechi will be coming in a second. I just let him know. So, how long is it, Mama Tendai? Is it real
Uh,
long?
it's a quarter of a page. I mean, it's about three-quarters of a page.
Okay, well, I'm gonna.
It's actually a half a page, but I made it bigger.
Okay, well, once I open up, I'm gonna see how it's rolling because we could possibly do that. But what I want to do though is also let him speak a little bit about him and his queen's recent.
Chieftaincy.
Exactly, and I want him to. Yeah, I want right exactly, and then we're gonna go right into it. But I still might call on you to do that though when he comes in.
You might as
Okay.
well. You probably need to. Everybody that doesn't know the background.
Huh?
You probably need to. Everybody doesn't know the background.
He was saying we probably need to do this because everybody doesn't necessarily know
Right,
all the
right.
things we've
Okay,
done.
I got you. I got you.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. We can, and I'll still do what I plan to do. We'll do that, but let's wait for him to come in, and I get started and get opened up because he asked me to text him. I texted him just now, so it'll take him a minute to log back in. Anyway, how's everybody doing? What time is it? 15. We're gonna go a little over.
Heru, he probably is going to need, I think he might have a PowerPoint.
Okay, we'll find when he checks in. We'll find that out.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. I will make him the co-host.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
That's what I was asking.
But allow him to come in, and we'll go from there. We'll get started, and even if we start at 8:15, we're gonna go over. So it'll
Well, it
be
doesn't make no difference that we're here anyway.
yeah. I said we go over. I already told him we're gonna probably go over, so we don't got to kind of rush stuff, so we can get it all in. No problem. Yeah, Haru, DC ain't no joke with traffic no more, bro.
No, no, no. I was coming down. I was coming down like near Dumfries, Maryland, Virginia.
Right, but I understand. It took me. Guess what? It took me an hour to get Kathy to the airport, man. Doing rush hour, it's crazy. And
It took me 2 hours.
no, I'm talking about in the morning though. You talking
Wow.
about in the evening.
Wow.
What's up, Kwame? What's up, Kwame? Kwame Benta. Oh, he might. That might not be. That might just be his picture.
That's him, Kwame
Oh,
Benta.
I know that. I know. But I'm saying that's not live. That look like that's just a photo. So he might not be at his station. Let me see.
Single, I can't hear you.
I said 8:15 we'll start. He's
Okay then.
logging in now, and 8:15 you can go ahead on and start the Facebook piece in a minute, and I'll go ahead and
We already
start
started
it.
Facebook.
Oh, you did? Oh, so we on Facebook. Okay, all right. Well then I will get ready to open up. Welcome everybody to Freedom Friday. It's a pleasure having everybody here. And I see Baba Mosi has jumped in. So we're going to get started. And apologies to everybody that's on Facebook and the people that are on Zoom. We're just running a little bit behind time, but we're in time. We're going to be fine. How you doing, Congo? So anyway, we're going to get started with the official opening up. And Baba Kelechi is chiming in. So we're going to really get started. And then I'm going to let Mama Tendai help open up with a brief bio. And then we're going to also congratulate our brother on another very, very important upgrade. of him and his queen. And then we're going to get right into the business of talking about appeal. And everybody's going to have an opportunity. So, Baba Mosi, I know I'm hosting tonight. We're going to go over. I'm telling you right now, we're not going to rush it out. We want people to know the details about appeal. And we got some us people listening in because that's going to be coming up soon. So without any further ado, I said, welcome to Freedom Friday, hosted by the Whitson Banneker Jackson Bay Division 330 of the UNIA-ACL Rehabilitating Committee 2020, led by Baba Mosi, who happens to be out of the country right now, and our good brother Baba Congo, who y'all hold him in the light because he's going through some challenges. And we're going to get started, though. The Universal Negro Improvement Association, African Communities League, is a social, friendly, humanitarian, charitable, educational, institutional, constructive, and expansive society, and is founded by persons desiring to the utmost for work for the general uplift of African peoples of the world. And the members pledge themselves to do all in their power to conserve the rights of their noble race and to respect the rights of all women and mankind, believing always in the sisterhood and brotherhood of woman and man and the motherhood and fatherhood of the Most High God. The motto of the organization is one God, one aim, one destiny. Therefore, let justice be done to all women and mankind, realizing that if the strong oppresses the weak, confusion and discontent will ever mark the path of man. But with love, faith, and charity towards all the rent of peace and plenty will be hurled into the world, and the generations of men and women shall be called blessed. Welcome, Baba Kelechi. We're going to get started. So just give us a second. He's going to make you a co-host. So you're going to be fine. We're going to open up and then I'm going to turn it over to Mama Tendai. She's going to read a brief bio of yourself and then we're going to get started. All right. So the official pledge of the flag. The Universal Negro Improvement Association, African Communities League has a flag and it's very important. I commit my body, mind, and spirit to the protection, defense, and security to the red, black, and green. I dedicate my life to the redemption of Mother Africa and the liberation of her scattered Black children. I accept for myself and my descendants the teachings of universal African nationalism, and I promise that our children will be instilled with the purpose of knowledge of themselves as African people in order that the cause of the struggle will neither falter nor fail until all Black people are free and united through one God, one aim, and one destiny, one Africa. And I also just want to throw a little bleep in there. Y'all look out because we coming to clarify scientific Pan-Africanism. Anyway, I'm not going to get too into that. Maybe on the back end, I'll talk a little bit about what's coming up with the Race First Conference because A.P.E.A.L will be represented there too. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Queen Mother, Mama Tendai, and she's going to read a bio of our brother. And then she's going to turn it back over to me, and I'm going to officially introduce my brother with not a long bio, but just a straight up
It's not a
congratulations.
long bio, although he is a giant and all the things that he has done and committed for us and continues to do for us in the community needs to be recognized.
Yes,
Baba, we appreciate you and we congratulate you on all the work that you have done. And we give you all the energy and strength for you to continue to do so.
Ashe.
Baba, we call him Baba Kelechi, but he's actually Dr. Kelechi Egwin. He's a longtime community activist and organizer in the DC area and a commentator for several local and international news outlets on social justice and issues concerning African people. He is a lifetime member of the African Freedom Fund, United Black Community, and a representative to the Leadership Council for Pan-African Nationalism. He's been the senior warden of the Igbo service in Maryland, a former coordinator of the Manhood Training Program at Ujamaa Shule, the former vice president of A.P.E.A.L Development Union, executive in the Obonwo Development Union, a member of the DC Citywide Kwanzaa Planning Committee, where he served as the editor of the annual DC Kwanzaa Calendar and Events Resource Guide. He is the executive director of A.P.E.A.L Incorporated, which is a Black empowerment organization developing a plan to empower African people worldwide, including what is a great focus of ours, which is organizing to launch the nation's first national Black credit union. He's the founder and president of the I always get this wrong, Ebenechi Scholarship Foundation, providing scholarships for children in the eastern region of Nigeria, as well as the Director of Engineering and Projects of the Igbo Cultural Village Project at the University of Nigeria. He has been the recipient of countless recognitions as a community organizer, including the Umoja Award, the Nguzo Sabo Award, the Obonwo Bridge Builder Award, the DC Council of Elders Aluta Continual Community Service Award, the UNIA-ACL Marcus Garvey Outstanding Community Service Award, and so many, many more. And none of them can actually encompass and give you a full understanding of the brother's commitment and all of the things that he continues to do for us, not only in the DC area, but worldwide.
Mama Tendai, thank you so much. And Baba Kelechi, I'm going to be real short, but I got to say that he's a down home brother. And when I say down home, I'm talking about home on the continent, home around the world. And we as Garveyites really appreciate anybody that's doing the kind of outstanding work that he is. But before we get started, Baba Kelechi, in the topic of the night, which is appeal, we want to congratulate you and your queen. Even though she's not here, we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to let people know what we are congratulating you for and how you want to address it and anything coming up for that, because you have exemplified carrying on our ancestors. And I'm gonna just do a quick libation spiritually. I want to call on my brother Baba Lazana Mack. I want to call on Marcus Garvey, call on Renoko Rashidi, call on Queen Mother James, and all of the ancestors that we are continuing their work in the 21st century. Brother, we do appreciate you and we do respect you. And I know many of us on this call are members of A.P.E.A.L, like Mama Tendai, myself, several others. We are members of A.P.E.A.L, but most importantly, we your brothers. And how we move together, we move as one. So we want to let all the world know that once you hear the presentation tonight, you should too, if you are serious about the uplifting of African people.
Well, thank you so much, Baba. Thank you, Mama Tendai, for the reading of the bio, and Baba for the introduction. Yes, my queen and I, we were recently given chieftaincy titles in Nigeria. We're doing a celebration of that, and we're grateful for recognition. It's really like a call to do more work. Ultimately, but we accept it. We do what we can while we can, because we won't always have the opportunity to do what it is that we want to do. So being able to do it is a gift. So thank you all for the opportunity to share about A.P.E.A.L. I know many of you all are familiar with A.P.E.A.L, and you may not be familiar with all the aspects of it. So hopefully tonight we can share some of this. So I do have a PowerPoint presentation. So let me go ahead and get that on.
While you're pulling that up, Bob, I just want to make it clear, talk like you're talking to the world, because we might be clear on some of the things and we will be get more clarity, but we're going to broadcast this out. So everybody that ain't here tonight, they still going to get it, because we're going to make sure we spread it out there, because the work that's being done by A.P.E.A.L is critical to the upliftment of African people at home and abroad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Are you all able to see my screen?
Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So we'll jump right in. So A.P.E.A.L, it's an acronym. A lot of folks may not know that. It is an acronym. It stands for the Association of People for Pan-Africanist Economic Advancement through Leverage. The key word there is leverage. We have an appreciation of a reality that it is not a lack of wealth that hampers us. It is really a lack of organization of that wealth. And that wealth is leverage that we can use to transform our communities. Our mission is to organize and strategically utilize the vast resources of people of African descent, locally, nationally, and globally, in order to facilitate the type of economic empowerment, education enrichment, and the creation of truly strong, prosperous, self-sufficient communities for our people. We deserve it. It's just for us to do it. We are the ones we're waiting for. We give honor to Baba Lasana Mack, who was the foreseer, I would say, of A.P.E.A.L. The key founder of A.P.E.A.L. Really came from a background of finance, both locally. He was a DC treasurer for a long time, and dealing with all types of financial engines, and was able to put the idea of organizing us in this way in order to bring benefit that we haven't been able to achieve. So we give honor to Baba Lasana, and we continue to do that work. And these are the people that you may not always see, who are definitely working. Maybe even in the background, they're working. Of course, myself as the executive director. We have Brother Brandon Green, a longtime UNIA member. Um, Brother Anthony Browder. Everybody knows Brother Anthony Browder. Mama Emma Unc Manny, Brother Norma John, Frank Norma John, and Mama McKinney. These are our board members, and but the work for appeal, most of the work gets done at the committee levels. Mama Tendai can speak on that. This is where the work is done. This is where the rubber meets the road, as it were. And we have a lot of people who are engaged in various aspects because we recognize that our condition is multifaceted. We didn't arrive in this position as a people overnight, and it's not as simple as one magic bullet. We must be able to address all aspects of the condition that we're in order to improve our condition and change our relationship with the system, which is critical. So we have several committees, which is the SEAC. And I'll talk about each of these committees individually. Our fundraising committee is planning a Founders Day, which I'll talk about later on. So we'll deal with the work of the various committees as I get into the presentation. Of course, we didn't invent, the appeal board, even Bob Lasana. We didn't come up with the idea of Pan-African empowerment or economic advancement or Pan-Africanism. Of course, biz being UNIA, it was mentioned earlier, of course, we cannot, step aside the fact that Brother Honorable, the great, the one and only Marcus Garvey, started a movement in the early 1900s to build economic empowerment, self-sufficiency among Black communities globally, right? In order to restore Black people to our rightful place, because we recognize that where we were in society, we are in society is not what we should be. We must transform that relationship, change that relationship, so that we can be great as we should be. And many others, along with Brother Marcus Garvey, Honorable Marcus Garvey, through many communities. There's so many names. It's not a one person story. We often hear about the loudest ones. We often hear about, Tulsa and all the different, Black Wall Street, all the different communities, that oftentimes, the violence was so difficult uh, to address because of the tragedy of it. But all over, especially in America, Black people stood up and said, we are taking control of our realities, we have control of our futures, and we are empowering ourselves over and over again. We have demonstrated a willingness not just to achieve, but an unwillingness to allow failure to be our reality. And over again, so many have followed that path, and we continue to follow that path. Of course, we have Kwame Nkrumah, and many others, who also reminded us of the importance of Pan-Africanism, their political power, economic power, because if you don't control the politics of your existence, it's difficult to control any other aspect of it. And we give honor to him and Patrice Lumumba, Sekou Touré, Julius Nyerere, and so many others that did this work before we were even on Earth, right? At least for me. So we're definitely following their coattails and just continuing that work because like I said, we didn't get to where we are overnight. It was not going to be an overnight success. It was going to be something that required continuous generations continuing to toil at it in order to achieve the change that we know we must have, and we're honored to be continuing in their footsteps. But of course, we recognize that the work is still needed. We are still not where we need to be. Self-reliance and self-sufficiency is still not a reality for us as African people. So A.P.E.A.L is a cooperative enterprise to facilitate socioeconomic empowerment in the Black community through several platforms, including educational platforms, resource-based platforms, and I'll get into some of them as well. So, we have five main sections of A.P.E.A.L, but I'll get into that a little bit later because it's really in the solution. The mission is one thing, but what are the ways you achieve the mission, right? What are the platforms you have in place to achieve the mission? But, just to set the stage, just to orient people, because I know there's a lot of conversations about economic empowerment, about specifically Black buying power, what it means, what it doesn't mean. And unfortunately, like most things, what people think it means isn't really what it means, right? And you get tired of correcting people, right? Because unfortunately, Black buying power does not mean wealth. It does not mean income. It just means our capacity to be consumers, right? But that's gone up steadily. Over the years, it just continues to grow up like a steady ladder. We are consuming more and more. We're buying more and more because that's what that translates into. But much of that is actually money that's borrowed, credit cards, debt, and all types of things. We think you spending money means you have money. We know better than that. We're actually demonstrating we're great consumers, consistently growing at a steady rate, but we have not been able to translate that into power. Spending does not mean wealth. The 1.9 is probably 2 point some trillion by this point of Black buying power has only been used to demonstrate how good we are at being consumers, how able we are to empower other people with our wealth. Because unless the money is coming into our community and growing in our community, we're just really feeding the cow, right? We're just really feeding oftentimes our oppressors with the money we do have. So this is a good eye opener, I think, to sort of show where we are, despite the fact that we've had this steady growth of buying power, as it were. We really haven't seen the same steady growth of actual net worth, family net worth. We tend to be at the bottom and remain at the bottom of this wealth gap, right? Racial wealth gap, despite the fact that we continue to be exponentially better and better consumers, our actual wealth has not shown the same improvement. So it only represents how much we're spending, primarily because we're spending so much outside of our community. There's a joke that if it's a bad joke, but if somebody were to give reparations, what Sprint would become, whatever stratosphere, because everybody was spending money outside of the community. If we don't, if at this point where we are, with what we have, if we don't learn to support Black businesses, support ourselves, internalize our economics, if we don't learn that now, when we have more capital at our disposal, we're not going to learn it then. It's too late at that point. You're going to, we'll just end up using unfortunately, those resources, to our detriment, because oftentimes that's how the wealth is being spent. So that buying power must be leveraged, and that's that word again, leveraged, to mean something, to be a positive for Black people, right? We must promote and facilitate Black people spending their money with other Black people in their communities. Seems like a really simple idea. We've been talking about it for a long time, but obviously it's not that simple because we haven't really achieved it. Unfortunately, we still have Black people, a lot of them, who are not just that they're not spending their money with Black people, but they're averse to it. All types of generational trauma, this and that. But this is still where we are. We have to unlearn what we have learned. We have to educate ourselves out of that trauma so we can transform our communities. We must facilitate and support Black manufacturers producing the products that we spend our money on. Buying Black is one thing, but if what you're buying from a Black person isn't made by a Black person, the money ends up still going to the same entity you're trying to avoid. We must make what we use and use what we make. It's a real simple concept. And the thing about it is, Black people make pretty much everything that Black people use. Just Black people don't support them. They don't buy from them. They believe that because a Black person makes it, it must necessarily be inferior. They won't even, go out on a limb to try it, right? But they'll try somebody else if they see a nice commercial out there. Where they hear as a Black person, oh wow, so all of a sudden, they want a discount or something like that. We're still trying to unlearn this trauma, but we must unlearn it. We must begin to patronize not just Black retailers or Black manufacturers, because ultimately, the products that we need, if they're going to be beneficial to us, we have to make them. We have to be accountable to each other in making them. We must create and support institutions within our communities to facilitate the capture of Black buying power in order for it to benefit Black people and transform into Black wealth. That's pretty much the nutshell of what we're trying to do with some of the platforms that we have, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty of it. So today, we still have a need for economic advancement, even through the centuries, even where we've had progress. Sometimes you have a step forward and step back, but we must continue that. Black people are, in general, still at the bottom rung of society, and whenever society has a problem, we're oftentimes the scapegoat. We saw recently that with all the happenings with especially government workers, even private industry, the folks who bore the greatest part of the layoffs, are Black women. So white men actually they're going into different fields now. They're lowering the standards for them to get into different fields now. But Black people are being cut off and targeted. That's just how it is. But this is why this is when we are dependent on their economic system. This is why we have to have our own way to sustain ourselves, right? Africa still remains, even through all this, right, the richest continent in the world. The world depends on Africa. The world depends on Africa for its sustenance and maintenance of technology, maintenance of life itself. Yet we as Africans don't benefit from that. It's largely still being still an exploitative relationship, and this is where we come in terms of building relationship with our brothers on the continent, so that they know that they have partners on the other side. We may have something they need to make the mineral resources work, as opposed to having to depend on what seems like benevolence, but it's not, from the West, really exploitation, which oftentimes, is how it plays out. So financial, economic self-sufficiency and empowerment are still acute needs of our people, locally, nationally, globally, right? So the work is clear in front of us. There are 5 major platforms that A.P.E.A.L has to tackle this vast mission that we have. Many people know about one of them, because that's sort of the loudest one, most interesting one, right? But there's a lot to it, right? So one of our key missions is our financial literacy workshop series. We really are devoid of some of the basic knowledge we need just to maintain what we have. We're not really talking about, A.P.E.A.L is not about trying to beg somebody else for something else, beg somebody for something you don't have, or beg somebody for something they have. We're not in the begging game. We're just trying to manage what we have. And we believe we have enough. We have enough to not sustain us, but be prosperous as a community. The problem is we're mismanaging what we have. And until we get the knowledge to maximize and be able to have generational transfer so our children don't start from scratch every time. Every generation isn't starting from scratch every time, despite the fact that grandpa got 5 apartment buildings, when he passed away, grandchildren ain't got no money for college. We have to stop this cycle. And that's on us, right? We have to learn how to use this economic system to our benefit. So that's where the financial literacy program and classes, come in. It really is critical. It's not sexy. I can name a few speakers that they'll, pack the house, but you start talking about fixing your credit, you know, you know, banking skills, or turning a insurance into a personal bank, and how to get into real estate investing, or whatever the case may be. Folks ain't, they're not running off of that because they think it's too hard, or whatever this case may be, or maybe they're just not seeing it as something that's relevant. But it's the most relevant to their day-to-day, every day. You're literally living in this economic system every day, functioning every day. So it's critical that we pay attention to that, and we put that first as our function. And we've been doing that for over 10 years, and we're happy to continue to provide that for the community. Another aspect is historical cultural literacy, because it's not just about finance. A lot of people see A.P.E.A.L as a financial organization. It's part of it. That's part of it, but it's not all of it. It can't be all of it. A fool and his money are soon parted. If you don't have an understanding of who you are, whose you are, where you are in the context of history, and what your responsibility is, then your purpose is off. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. You must know who you are. You must have your purpose clear, and you must have an understanding of your place in history. And it's our responsibility to convey that. It's not being conveyed at the secondary school, elementary school. It's not being conveyed at the university level. It's our responsibility to make sure that our people have the proper historical and cultural literacy and political literacy as well, in order for them to be beneficial to themselves. Because oftentimes we are our worst enemy. I mean, I don't worry about what anybody else does, because I know it's just about us. If we can get ourselves right, then we're good. It's getting ourselves right. We are our own problem, and we are the only ones that can solve it. And that's our mission, is to solve it through education, by reorienting our people so that they are on track, so that we are heading where we need to head, right? Another aspect of A.P.E.A.L is a think tank, because there are a lot of issues that need to be looked at in depth. analyzed. And that's hard work. It's tedious. It takes a long time to produce something, but it is critical to the work that we do through the network of other organizations and individuals globally that are like-minded. Another key aspect of A.P.P.E.A.L is the co-op. Where the co-op is a store. It's an actual store where you go to buy things that Black people make. I don't know of any other store that is dedicated to only selling things Black people make. We don't sell nothing Black people don't make. You have to ask, is a Black maid, look for the Black lady, but none of that. You walk in there, you buying it, a Black person made it, period. And Black people make everything that we need. All your everyday products, and we'll go over some of them a little bit later. All your personal care products, stuff you go to CVS for, we make all that. So why don't we buy it? Why don't we buy our own producers? The tissue not soft enough? The toothpaste don't smell nice enough? What exactly are the excuses? The lotion ain't creamy enough, But these are, when you look at the condition of our people, these are silly reasons. But oftentimes we'll come up with them because we don't really want to deal with the fact that we just don't want to support Black people making stuff that we use because we don't believe that their products can be as good, that we still believe the white man's ice is colder. And we have to unlearn that. Again, back to literacy, right? It's all connected. It's all very much connected. But a co-op, we're able to bring those products right to people. Your staple products are right there for you to support Black businesses without having to do anything. You're probably spending less money. Actually, some of our products are less expensive than elsewhere. A side note: when the pandemic happened, the co-op saw like probably the biggest boom when everybody's product line or where they get the products from was cut off because we had our own Black product line. We're able to get our products where our folks couldn't get theirs. So the membership of folks coming through, was a line around the corner, literally a line around the corner. But we don't have to wait for these situations. We don't have to wait for them to not want us, right? For us to want ourselves. And we still in that cycle. But it's critical that we have institutions like the co-op because when the time comes, Black people will come looking for us and we need to be there and ready for them. And lastly, but not least, the launch of the first National Black Credit Union. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. So a little bit about financial literacy workshop series. We cover a lot of topics, basic, not so basic. And the idea, again, is to raise the financial literacy level of our people. It doesn't matter how old you are. I mean, young, teenagers to, retirees. There's a lot of information that we need to have in order to make sure that we are getting the most out of where we are in life, our station in life, wherever that station, whether it's at the beginning of your career or at the end of your career, wherever you are, there are some things you should be doing to make sure that you benefit most from where you are and that your family benefits most from where you are. Otherwise, somebody's going to benefit. It just won't be you, right? We've heard stories of folks, millionaires, athletes, entertainers, whoever, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, they passed away and their children didn't get nothing. You're like, man, how'd that happen? How's that happen? It's lack of education. It's a lack of literacy, lack of awareness, lack of knowledge. Of course, they would have loved to have, their generations to come benefit from what they have, but loving to have it isn't enough. And you don't have to be a millionaire for it to be important. Thousandaires, have something to pass on too, because money has a way of appreciating if it's properly managed. If we don't have those tools and use those tools, we don't get to be the best that we can be for our children. And if you're if you're stuck suffering and scratching to survive, you don't get to look up to see what they're doing to you. That's why they always keep the poor oppressed and distracted, because if you're trying to survive, you don't have time to look up, right? And it's important that we do what we can to give our folks a breath to be able to look up, right? So the financial literacy series are really important. They kick off. We actually have the financial literacy and historical literacy, and I'll talk about that later, alternating. So, it's either one or the other, depending on what time of year it is. And those workshops continue. And of course, A.P.E.A.L members can always look at previous workshops in the archives as well. So the reason the typical white family today has 8 times the wealth of a typical Black family, yes, some of it is this generational wealth gap, but a lot of it is that we haven't broken the habit of losing wealth upon the transition of elders or generations. We're still in a cycle of everybody starting from scratch. It's almost as if we don't feel we have a responsibility to ensure that the next generation has more than us. It's not an option. It's a responsibility. We have a responsibility to prepare for those we will never meet. But we haven't learned that. We're still thinking, it's not an option. This is your responsibility. Man, woman, this is your responsibility. And until we learn that, we can't change this cycle that we're in. No matter how much we make, we're going to lose it in one generation because we haven't learned to transfer it generationally, right? But we can do that, right? And there are tools to do that. Obviously, I'm not going to do a workshop on that tonight because that's a whole thing, right? But this is part of what we do. We need to stop the loss of generational wealth in our community, right? And there are lots of ways that we do that, mostly by not preparing to okay. Looks like somebody's writing on the screen. I don't know who's I don't know. Like there's some like writing going on the screen, but I'll keep going. If maybe the host can clear that they're writing. Maybe they're doing internet unintentionally. So if we fail the plan and let the government choose, for us who the beneficiaries of all of our life's work is, if we decide that it's not a priority for us to plan, to have a will, a trust, what have you, if we decide it's not a priority, we are actually deciding to allow the government to choose for us who will benefit from all of our life's work, right? And over again, that's happening. We have a sister who does one of the workshops for us, Sister Amy Griffin. And she tells me all the time, she's in court like all the time because families call her at the very last minute in probate court and somebody represent them and they're trying to struggle because everybody's, now, grandma had this and that. She had a house on Logan Circle. Now it's gone because no one, planning. You cannot build your shield on a battlefield. It's too late at that point. If you're on the battlefield trying to build your shield, you've already lost. So we must be proactive, and we must have the tools to be proactive, right? So aside from the financial literacy, of course, we have our historical cultural literacy series. Mama Tendai is a member of that committee, a hardworking member of that committee. And we provide workshops, that deal with a myriad of subjects, both historical, cultural, and political, because we must provide orientation, right? We must make sure that our people are properly oriented on where they are at this point in time and how the things that are happening around them are affecting them, whether they are conscious of it or not, and how they can be proactive, what they can do to change something that needs to be changed, right? One of our board members, Brother Anthony Browder, he presents regularly for A.P.E.A.L. As a matter of fact, he has a workshop tomorrow morning on the Clark historical project. So you can go to appealinc.org and go to events and register for that. Brother Tony is a very generous member of Appeal. He's not just a board member; he's also a presenter as well. He's also a founder member. This committee is headed by Mama McKinney. She does presentations sometimes. I'm just going to share some of the folks that often or have in the past presented an appeal. Brother Onoka Rashidi was mentioned earlier. He was a member of Appeal, and we definitely appreciate his generosity. Appreciate his generosity continued because we actually have archives of Renoko speaking on various topics on an appeal. So yeah, we'll definitely continue to miss him and appreciate the legacy that he left for us. But with Dr. John Nobles, many others that you recognize, you may not recognize, providing a variety of Brother Khalifa, a variety of topics that we should be aware of. We should be knowledgeable. These are topics you're not going to hear about almost anywhere else. And we're getting it, from a primary source in many instances. So through our lectures, and it's not just lectures, it's field trips as well. Through our lectures and field trips, we're teaching our people to become proficient in the knowledge of world history and African and Black history and culture. And the idea is to get them more and more proficient, not just on the basic level, but intermediate level, advanced level, so they can begin to teach, because each one teach one, but you have to teach one first, right? So some folks we may not be able to reach, by educating yourself, you can educate other people. The vast history and culture of our people. It is critical that as part of our educational system that we continue to educate our people about our socioeconomic condition now and in the past, so that we can have the proper direction, right? I talked about the think tank, the A.P.P.E.A.L think tank earlier. I think that addresses a lot of different work. Brother Maurice Kern, you saw him earlier, is a member of the think tank, and there are a lot of topics that I analyzed. And actually, oftentimes topics come from workshops that we have, and then like, well, somebody needs to look into this. Um, and the primary purpose of the think tank is education and research. Lots of research papers, writing, developing strategies, think of innovative ways to solve problems and share it. The Sonic K-Mac think tank is a quasi-independent, that would mean that it is part of Appeal, but it is not necessarily run by Appeal. It's more funded by Appeal. It's part of Appeal, but it has to be independent. It has to function independently, for it to be effective. And its purpose is to serve as a hub, and there are other like-minded organizations and individuals and groups that do work that the think tank liaises with, depending on the topic. And the products are oftentimes papers, documents, which can now then be referenced later by Appeal and others, in order to produce positive impacts. And in fact, the next topic I'm going to jump on is actually came out of one of the products of the think tank. The idea that we need to focus on Black manufacturers as a way of bringing sustainable prosperity. That's not just about the one buy, but about families and generations and employment, right? So the co-op that we have, which is about to celebrate 10 years, is a product of that work that think tank does. So I'm gonna jump right into the co-op, right? Co-op is every first and third Saturday of the month. It's a store. It's the 2015 Bunker Hill Road, Northeast Washington, D.C. And our unique focus is the things that Black people make, right? Especially those personal care products, the things that you're going to use anyway. You're going to use mouthwash, you're going to use soap, detergent, bathroom tissue, right? And we're always looking for more and more manufacturers to carry their products. We want as much diversity as possible. It also allows us to make sure that we always have a product because different manufacturers may have different issues at different times. But by having that diversity, we're able to always provide what our customers need. And I can't show all the products that we have, but this is just a sample of just give you an idea. Everything from bathroom tissue to detergent to deodorant to honey to tea to what have you. And we also have, of course, a farmers market. Usually Brother Eugene is there and he has, all the fresh produce. And this is watermelon season, so of course we got that as well. Usually has them lined up around the block. So this is part of us providing those necessities, so you don't have to go somewhere else, right, to get what you need. This is sort of a one-stop shop, and it's dedicated to and features Black manufacturers because we need to, simply put, use what we make and make what we use. Real simple concept. And and as conscious Black people, and race first Black people, it seems like a really easy sell, right? Here's an opportunity to not just buy it from Black people, but buy what Black people are making that's being sold by Black people that will now go back to Black people funding, not just what they're making, but the families that are being sustained by what they're making. The reverberation of that goes on and on and on. Real easy stuff, but we're still having a hard time, going to the co-op. And it's more than, of course, we're not necessarily as an organization. For us, it's not about the products. We're not really in the product business. Eventually, the Black side of co-op, as it continues to grow, will, offshoot as an independent thing, and that's the whole goal, because that's not our purpose is necessarily to sell products, but our purpose is to facilitate the growth and prosperity of the Black community through, in this instance, supporting Black manufacturers, right? That's the goal. And it may just seem like you're going in to buy a product, and that's all you really need to appreciate is that we have products that you want to use, right? But believe me, when you go to Black Sided Co-op and you go there and buy, even if it's a roll of bathroom tissue, you are doing more, to create Black empowerment than you realize. If you we're going to buy True Detergent or Good Vibes or Garners, all the products that we have there, you are feeding the machine of Black prosperity just by buying what you would buy somewhere else. And now you have the pride of going home and looking at this soap and saying, this is soap that Black people made. This is toothpaste Black people made, right? This is detergent. The clothes may even smell fresher, right? Using detergent Black people made, right? But the idea is that we have to change our relationship with this system if we're really gonna bring prosperity, and we have the ability to do that, and that's part of what the co-op is about. So we must change our spending habits to begin to practice commerce with each other. Again, it's a real simple concept, right? Not just in retail level, right? Because we have to move past that level because, it's good, but it's not enough if the resources from your retailing is still ultimately, even if it's through a Black hand and up a white hand, what are we achieving, right? We must support Black owned and operated manufacturers producing products that we need. And we want to support them so that they can increase their customer base. They can produce more products and continue to produce the products that they make. Because I guarantee you, you're never going to see a white campaign boycotting Black businesses. The reason why you're not going to see that, because they don't have to have a campaign boycotting Black businesses. They do that every day. That's just life. A lot of us boycott Black businesses. If we don't support these businesses, if we don't support these manufacturers, nobody else will. And then they will be gone. They will say, wow, why don't Black people make bathroom tissue? Why can't Black people make detergent? Why don't Black people make toothpaste? And yet they were making it and then nobody was supporting them, right? So we cannot allow that to happen. We must support Black-owned operated manufacturers and producers to increase their customer base and ensure their prosperity for the benefit of us, right? And of course, another benefit of the co-op is a store. Even though we are a nonprofit, the revenue from the store goes towards the other initiatives of A.P.P.E.A.L, right? Our operational costs, the credit union startup costs. So that's another benefit. You know, you go in there supporting the co-op. You're also supporting all the other aspects of A.P.P.E.A.L that you've heard about today, right? So as I mentioned, January 6th next year will be the 10-year anniversary of the co-op. So look out for that. So we'll be doing some special things to appreciate our customers throughout the years, because 10 years, like, wow. Yeah, so look out for that. And we're happy to not just have gone past the 5-year mark, but now we're approaching the 10-year mark and continuing to grow and add more products as well. So, of course, a key part of A.P.P.E.A.L's overall mission is the development of a banking institution in the form of a credit union to facilitate and promote ownership and wealth creation, right, for communities of people of African descent. And I'll talk a little bit about that. Just for orientations, I know people may not know the difference between a bank and a credit union. It may seem like it's the same thing, but they're really not the same thing. There are not lots. There are several Black banks. Some are regional. There's a couple that are truly national, but it's very different. And Black banks can open up just by one person providing the funds or two people providing the funds, to capitalize it, right? Banks are by nature private institutions. Even if they're publicly traded, they're private because the shareholders are a private entity, right? So banks are corporations owned by shareholders who in turn have, the voting power to operate however it is they choose to operate their corporation. And usually, they're run by people who make money off of what the bank makes. Their direct benefit is how much capital the bank raises. They are a business where their primary purpose is to make money. And nothing wrong with that, but it's just not what credit unions are, and it creates a distinction that affects a lot of different things. So credit unions are nonprofits. They're a nonprofit financial cooperative, much like a co-op. Whether it's a housing co-op or store co-op, whatever the case may be. In the case of a credit union, it's a financial co-op, right? It's about mutual benefit. It's about, instead of distributing profits among private owners for credit union, everybody who's a customer is a member, and the benefits, revenue, profit, if you will, from that go back to that member as equally as every other member through a variety of services, reduced fees, higher savings rates, whatever the case may be, lower rate loans. The revenue from that enterprise goes back to owners who are the members, each member. And one member's deposit becomes leverage for another member's loan. So it's a very circular relationship, and it very much in line with A.P.E.A.L's mission, or A.P.E.A.L's vision, or method of operation. It's all about, cooperation, collaboration, mutual benefit, right? So services offered by offered to individual customers is much more similar today for credit unions than in the past. I think in the past you would sort of see credit unions just doing one thing, but nowadays the distinctions in terms of the actual what they offer is not so different anymore. There's a lot of merging of lines. Credit unions pretty much can offer anything the bank can at this point, if they choose to. So that's one thing. One development that's happened is sort of like credit unions becoming more and more able to function like banks. But the advantage, of course, is the being a member means that you're benefiting from the revenue in various ways that you would not be able to benefit from if it was a bank. So credit unions are owned by its members. Each member, regardless of how much you have in there, you have exact same vote in terms of, when it comes to deciding what exactly the credit union would do, who the board members are, and so on and so forth. It's very much member owned, member controlled. In the case of appeals of a proposed credit union, our primary focuses are providing funding for land and business development, um, to help control, again, the production, distribution, and retailing of goods, services in our community, help produce employment and training opportunities so folks can take advantage of opportunities with capital, finance and ownership, and wealth creation for empowerment and self-sufficiency and prosperity. Because we are an organization based, or we're forming an organization based credit union, and because of the way nature of credit unions, because we are organization based and our organization is nationwide and we have members all over the country, the credit union is not just local to where I am personally. Some of our board members are not in the DC area, right? We got some from all over the country. So members, wherever they are able to get accounts and fully participate. So this becomes a national effort, and that creates an opportunity to pool resources in a way we haven't been able to before. Our communities are not homogeneous, meaning that the degree of wealth or lack of wealth, poverty, prosperity, whatever, in one community versus another is very different. And Mobile, Alabama is very different from Prince George's County, Maryland. The Black people who are in communities where there's more wealth, if you're able to pull resources from communities with communities with less wealth, you're able to really provide access that they wouldn't have otherwise. And so it allows Black people, regardless of where they are nationally, to be able to benefit from that pool. That pool is really the key. It being national is really the key, right? So that's why we're so keen on it. And we're so keen on the steps to get there. And I'll talk about the progress we've made so far. So some of the services the credit union will provide are what you would expect from any financial institution, not just banking and saving, but also loans, and other services, eventually credit cards and things of that nature. But one thing that sets us apart from probably any other financial institution is that because of our mission, we have an orientation where we are about the prosperity of Black people in Black communities. So, it's key that funds that are generated in terms of revenues that are generated from credit union goes towards development, goes towards self-sufficiency and positive activities with, especially progressive activities financially within our community, and to facilitate increase in utilization of Africa's mineral resources. A lot of times, on the continent, we will go to other countries. I think of a couple of them, China and Russia being the most popular right now, because or other European countries, Germany, Japan, in some instances, because they bring resources. And even though we have the will, we oftentimes don't have the capital. And a whole lot of European banks or credit unions are not bending over backwards to give you money to invest in a farm in Uganda. It's just not going to happen. So our ability to see our customers and combine it with our mission means that we're able to channel resources towards investments that will actually bring about us maximizing our mineral and agricultural and other resources from the continent, because we'll be able to support Black people who are keen to do that, right? So that key connection with our mission is critical to the A.P.E.A.L credit union being different than any other credit union, even if it was a local, primarily Black one. If they don't have a mission of empowering Black people, and providing resources for that, then they're probably not going to ensure that the capitals are made available for that. So A.P.E.A.L is a membership organization. A lot of folks may think they're A.P.E.A.L members, and I've had conversations with folks who, they attend our workshops and you get our emails. That's wonderful. But we actually have membership dues. We have a requirement that you agree to our mission. You have to, your membership has to be approved by the board. Is a process, not a complicated process, right? But it's a process to become a member, and these dues are annual dues, which means every year they're due, right? So our members maintain their annual membership, and that again allows us to function, because all the activities that A.P.E.A.L does requires capital. While none of us take a salary. I mean, I don't take any funds, and Brand doesn't take any funds. We're all volunteering. There are actually things that cost money, just for us to function. So including the platform for the workshops and what have you, and our membership fees allows us to function as an organization in terms of operations. So it's critical to what we do. And we appreciate our members that continue to renew and continue to be active in various ways. So for the credit union itself, of course, you have to first be a member, because if you are not a member, then you can't really be part of any of the committees or activities that A.P.E.A.L does. I mean, how else would you be able to be? So first, the membership fee, and then of course, once you're a member, you have an opportunity. You don't have an obligation, but you have an opportunity to support the effort to bring about the credit union, either through contributing to a startup cost, or you can actually also make an advance deposit in your account, meaning that you can put money in your name in the account prior to the credit union even opening up, because that money is designated to you. It's all, even though we're holding, it's still your money. We can't use it for any other purpose but to open up your account once the credit union is launched. But that also allows us to have capital on the books that shows for the viability aspect of the charter, right? So those are the three different ways you can support that aspect, of course, being a member, and then the startup costs as well as the advance deposits. And of course, this is just a disclosure. All the deposits are kept in escrow accounts. It can't be touched for any other purpose, and they're also insured as well. So just in terms of where we are with the credit union process, it has been a long road, but we've made much progress. We've completed phase two, well, actually, we're completing phase two, completed phase one, we're completing phase two now. And that's really the critical phase is phase two. So we're doing a lot of legwork done. Of course, throughout all that, we've been raising capital, and I'll talk about how much we raised so far. But it is a process. So we as of now, this may not be exact number. It's probably a little more than this, but this is the last time I checked. So in terms of the startup costs alone, which is just money dedicated towards startup costs for the credit union, we raised $162,000, and then we have over $100,000 in advance deposits, combined about $266,000 towards the startup for credit union, which includes both the advance deposits and, of course, the startup costs, which make up the majority of it. And our goal is about $300,000, roughly. So we're very much getting close to that capital goal anyway. Overall, A.P.E.A.L, has over 300,000 in access, I would say, to cash, because if you combine our operating costs. So the point is that we're very close to that financial goal, and we're very close to the submission as well. So we're making good progress, even though it's taking time, and it takes time. I always say, if it was that easy to do, somebody would have done it already. So that's how it is. And things that we're doing take time. And when you're deliberate and purposeful about things, it takes time to get through that process. But we are making good progress, and we continue to appreciate the support of our members. And we have new members joining almost every day. So you can support A.P.E.A.L in a variety of different ways. If not just the credit union, obviously you can go to the co-op on Saturdays, right? But you can also join, and if you want to attend our workshops, it's another, and be able to see the archive of previous workshops. Lots of benefits for that. So we definitely appreciate your membership. Encourage you to be a member if you haven't already joined. We also encourage you to volunteer, even if you're already a member. We appreciate, people who take it, not just their wealth, but their talent, right, and apply it towards matters that are important to our people, that are focused on the prosperity of our people. And we have lots of opportunities for like-minded people who want to give of their time and A.P.E.A.L, right, through the various committees. All the work is done at the community level. I mean, the board is basically overseeing things, but we're not really, doing that. Well, some of us are, but not on that level. On the community level, we're doing that. So we appreciate our members who also not just, join, but also get involved in one of the various committees that we have, right? So there's a few ways to donate to A.P.E.A.L, which is federal workers, we're part of CFC, DC workers, we're part of, DC1. Amazon Smiles, I'm not sure they still have that, but they used to have that. Of course, Facebook birthday things, people like doing that as well. And these are the various ways you can keep in touch with A.P.E.A.L, obviously register for our workshops, see what's going on, see us on social media, what have you. And very much around the corner, we have our Founders Day celebration. If you have not attended the Founders Day celebration before, I encourage you to do so. It is a lot of fun. It's a party with a purpose, if you will. We are focused, of course, on the work of A.P.E.A.L and the proceeds from Founders Day goes towards the startup costs. As a matter of fact, the reason why we've raised so much money is because of the Founders Days over the years. It adds up, right? And this is our biggest fundraiser of the year. That's allowed us to get to almost 300,000 just for the credit union, just from being consistent, just some folks buying their tickets, getting the ads, donating and participating in the auction and so on and so forth. And we have some really great dynamic performers this year. We have Sahel. They haven't been with us. I think last time they performed for Founders Day was probably 2018, I think. It's been a while. So we have them back, Brother Kaba, soul singer, Ana Malego, and Brother Bomani Ama. And of course, over the last, I don't know, 5 years or so, we've had Brother DJ One Love, rocking the house. So we have a really tight show. This is not just a program where you sit and listen to music. It comes with a 5-course dinner, right? It comes with, some live entertainment. We have a live auction of some really fine, nice, fine art. And it's a great opportunity to network with like-minded, prosperity-minded, progress-minded, race-first people, right? There are very few opportunities when you combine all that at one event, in one location, and have a great meal while you're at it. Right. So definitely encourage you. And even if you can't be there in person, you can be there virtually. We have a dynamic system we use to allow you to be there virtually and make it feel like you're there in person. Right. So tickets are now on sale. I think we definitely still have some tickets left. So go to A.P.P.E.A.L to get your tickets for Founders Day. There are a lot of other ways you can support Founders Day as well. Of course, buying a ticket is a great one, right? But if you have, excuse the typo, if you have more than 10 people, or you have 10 people, or close to 10 people, you can actually get a table, right? And it'll be cheaper with a table as opposed to individual tickets. You can donate items for the silent auction and live auction, primarily art and things of that nature. And we're always looking for donations. All that adds up because, somebody will find that item interesting and they will, buy it, and those funds will go towards the revenue we raise. So we appreciate that. You can also get an ad in the souvenir brochure for Founders Day. Or either organizations can do that, businesses can do that. Individuals can also do patron, just patron ads, just congratulation ads as well. And the ads are not just in the brochure; it's also an online marketplace, a black marketplace, which actually gives you a booth and you have a video. A video can play in the booth. It's quite dynamic. And it's not just the online one, of course, and the online ad brochure is also a physical brochure. So you get physical brochure, the online brochure, and the African marketplace all for your ad. So I encourage people to do that. It's a great way to support. You can also just donate at appealinc.org if you support what we're doing and want to be part of what we're doing anyway. We always appreciate that. Again, I am Dr. Kelechi Egwin, Executive Director of A.P.E.A.L Incorporated. Recognize my partner, Brother Brandon Green, my Associate Director. He does a lot of work in the background. I try to get him to join me this evening, but it didn't work out. But I'm representing. And again, I thank UNIA for inviting us to share about A.P.E.A.L, and I'm open to any questions anyone may have.
Well, Baba, first I just want to thank you for a detailed presentation, and I'm very, very pleased that we could host you. I have a lot of questions, but I'm going to reserve mine for those that may not be appeal members. I will get with you directly because my major concern is to help spread this to other brothers and sisters that have like minds. And just to say to you, so I'll say it publicly, I really want to put you and Baba Hakima together because I know that Baba Hakima and what Us Lifting Us is doing, they're changing their direction. And in changing their direction, it sounds like the merger is super possible. And I mean, that goes all the way back to Baba Lazana and connecting and talking to him, and he's excited about it. So I'm gonna save that. I'm not gonna get into it now, but I wanted everybody to hear that publicly because I want to make sure you're clear that as a Garveyite, and I see this as an extension of the continuation of 21st century Garveyism. And I'm going to leave it at that and open it up. Maybe Baba Mosi or anybody else has any questions, and we'll go from there. So you can probably take your screen down and like I said, I want to thank you. And I'm going to reserve all my questions because my questions are not that deep. I mean, they're important, but they're relative to it helping because you've helped open my eyes up to quite a bit. And for your information, Mama Kathy is also an active member, and we both are some of the founding members of Us Lifting Us. But because of the direction change in Us Lifting Us, it's critical now that you find out about that and we see how we can move because being an initial investor with Us Lifting Us, now some of my investment that I did there, I can turn and come back to my homegrown appeal people with that. So I'm not just concerned as an individual. I'm concerned for other organizations and other people because, as you said, the more people that become members of appeal, the quicker we can get this work done.
Yep.
So I'm gonna stop right there and turn it over. Baba Mosi has opened his mic. I think he might have some questions. Baba Mosi. And by the way, he's out of the country right now too. Baba Mosi.
Hey, Baba.
Greetings, my good brother.
How are you?
And I'm fine. I think it's good to see you. Good to hear your voice,
yes.
and I do appreciate the fact that you have joined the UNIA-ACL RC2020 in this it's bi-monthly Freedom Friday Forum. I do appreciate that very much, and the information that you're putting out there that all African people need to understand that it's coming together with an economic sense of purpose that is really going to take us to that point where we will be respected by all other peoples of the world, because that is very important. The reason why we are in the predicament we're in right now is that other people are, every time we start to move in a certain direction, there are people who are sticking their feet out to trip us over. And it's very hard to get up and go because, again, there are obstacles at all times for some reason. And why is it racial? It's hard to understand, but I guess it goes back to that point when we were enslaved by Europeans who found it profitable to have that kind of an economic arrangement.
Yep.
I think our people have been brainwashed, and you have said it, a lot of that this evening. I agree with a lot of what you've said, if not all of what you've said regarding why we should come together and why A.P.E.A.L, the success of A.P.E.A.L is absolutely necessary. If people, especially in the community in Washington, D.C., where I guess the majority of the A.P.E.A.L members are, it's absolutely necessary that we take up that position of strength in numbers. And I will appeal to all our members, the members of the UNIA, to join A.P.E.A.L and you know, some of the things that you're doing regarding your co-op, etc., and the promotion of African manufacturers, and that we join you in helping out our people. we have the same objective in mind, and that is, the collection of African people coming together for an economic purpose. Garvey has said it several times, and what is tripping us up is hard to understand because I mean it's not just in the United States where Africans are having issues; it's all over the world.
Yeah.
And the consciousness of African people as to where we need to be and you have said that too. Like I said, I agree with you that education is absolutely necessary. Knowing where we're from and where we are and where we need to go. Those are things that should be in the forefront of our minds. And I am hoping that this particular Freedom Friday Forum will aid in bringing forward some more members
Mm.
or helping in raising the consciousness of our people as to what it means, what A.P.E.A.L means, and what it means to be part of A.P.E.A.L and joining in that economic process. And I think I used to tell Pablo Lozano that I used to try to get him to join the Division 330, and he would always look at me and just he had a wry smile, and he would just give that wry smile and walk off. But he had a lot on his mind. He had a purpose in mind, and we do miss him. And you have taken his place in putting A.P.E.A.L on track to get to that station or that terminal where we have success. So I congratulate you, my brother, for your strength, your purpose, for the fact that your stick-to-itiveness, because this is not an easy deal.
Right.
I mean, we have initially I'm one of the initial members of A.P.E.A.L, and I know it's been actually about 12 or 13 years how long we've been at this, and I have a question in this time period, and that is, what do you feel is the issue with African people not joining together in bringing an entity such as A.P.E.A.L to that point of success in an earlier time? This is 13 years. What do we have to do next? What do you? I mean, how do we raise the consciousness of these people? What do you have in mind, and what do you feel is the thing that we can aid in doing this?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, I've been working with raising the consciousness, I say raising the consciousness of African people or motivating African people to do different things to our benefit since I was a teenager. I've never found it to be an easy job. So, our people are where we are. The masses, the idea that the masses move with purpose is not something I've ever seen. It's usually a few people. And people tend to want a quick fix. I'm not making excuses for people. I'm just saying this is just the reality of human beings. Probably 5% of people actually are, moving on a conscious purpose, if you will. So I say that to say that, we have grown in various ways since our founding. We're not waiting for success. We're already successful. We have succeeded in a variety of ways. Even if we haven't met all of our goals, right? We have met other goals, right? So we didn't just stay looking at this goal. We're here, right? So, and we have to be that multifaceted because that's how multifaceted our situation is. So our people are where we are. We're not waiting for a savior. We're not waiting for a Martian or something like that, right? It's ultimately us. So I think that there's a reason why things take the time that they take. As long as we're progressing forward, as long as we're growing. I never, even though I was of course, a founding member, and I was a founding board member as well. Um, and I, helped write some of the initial articles and, this and that. I never really believed it was going to be overnight success. I always knew that it was going to take time because I've worked with our people. This is the reality of things. Um, as conscious as the DC community is, probably uh, some of the biggest, most um, multifaceted and broad conscious Black communities, at least in the United States. Um, you still have oftentimes the same people in a lot of the organizations doing all the work. I mean, the vast majority of folks are present, but you
Mm.
know, I'm not faulting them. It's just the nature of humanity. We're not a population of workers,
Yeah.
right? If we had two Mama Tendai, we'd already be where we at. You know what I'm
So,
saying? So,
if I could chime
that's the
in,
reality of it, is that we have very few people who are willing to do the work necessary.
so if I could
But
chime in right here, just
yeah,
for a second, because I appreciate Baba Mosi's
yeah,
question. I
bro.
appreciate your answer, brother, and I appreciate what Mama Tendai put in the chat. But I wanted the listeners to also tune in to this answer that I'm going to help give to you, because you basically said it all.
Right.
I mean, we want people that are conscious so that we can be consistent and proactive.
Yep.
Sometimes our people got the Urugu virus, but the Race First convention that's coming up is a great opportunity for organizations that are coming to that. And Mama McKinney is going to be representing A.P.E.A.L there,
Yep.
but it's going to be broken up in segments. There's going to be an economic platform. So what we need to do, and that's why I can really appreciate Baba Mosi's question, because I really feel what Baba Mosi was just saying. Why is it? Well, I know Garvey and a lot of the Garveyites feel the same way. But what Mama Tendai put in the chat is critical. And what you said, we are successful, but we're not as successful as we can be until we reach out to all of the other race first thinking people and get them aboard. So that's why I mentioned the race first convention, because that's what it's designed to do. We got a lot of other people talking talk and are coming to the table, but this is not a talk shop. It's a working shop.
Yep.
So I know Mama McKinney, and I know her well. I've known her a long time. I know she's gonna make sure, and I know Shakara, who is from the UK, who is happened to be one of the co-facilitators of the economic workshop.
Right.
I know they're gonna be breaking it down of how we can figure out better solutions to help A.P.E.A.L and all the brothers and sisters that come to the table come up with some strategies, some declarations of how we address that question, Baba Mosi, and not just address the question in word, but how we do better. And so I just wanted to say that, and I know Mama Tendai got something to add, because that was a loaded question, because it's up to all of us. And that's why I'm so happy that we have this Freedom Friday forum, and Happy Peel is here, because as we know, we got more work to do. But I know there's a lot of people out there that may not know about A.P.E.A.L, may not know the details that are happening. And now it's an opportunity for us to do that. And that's going to happen at the Race First convention. I'm certain of that.
Yeah,
But
bro.
even beyond the Race First convention, we need to all buckle up. And as Baba Mosi say, we all as UNIA members need to see A.P.E.A.L as a continuation of 21st century Garveyism and become members, and to encourage our families to get more involved. So I'll just say that and turn it over to Mama Tendai, because I know, we brothers can chop it up. But when Mama Tendai start talking, I know she gonna make sure that we follow what the ancestors have laid out for us. Mama Tendai, I know
Absolutely.
you got something to say. I know it. I see it.
I really didn't, Baba. You were fine, because I just wanted to say, as I put it in here, Baba Kelechi's on a path. And those of us who are working with him we're on this path that says we're bringing vision into reality. So we are making things, we're looking at what we can contribute, not just in theory, but our practice. And not only that, we're looking at tangible results and outcomes. That's the only way that we're going to be able also to reach out and to get our young people to embrace what it is that we're talking about as well, because they have to be able to see it and be able to touch it. And we have to accept the fact that they are part of the instant, how do you say it? Put water on it and serve, you know?
Yeah.
The instant generation, the ramen noodle generation. Okay, and if anything that we're dealing with, they have to see outcomes immediately. They're not going to be as patient as we are. So we also have to look at other strategies that are going to reach out, that are going to appeal to them, so that they do pick up this mantle and keep going with it. Okay. And I just want to say we're going to have to reach out, Baba Kelechi. I contacted the HBCU Forever Foundation. They're going to take out a full page ad. So I'm saying reaching out to organizations that have how can I put it? They're concerned about Black people, but they're not Pan-Africanists. So it's okay. Long as they're concerned about Black folks, I'm working with them. I'm helping put together. So I convinced them that they needed to do this so that people know that they exist, because they give scholarships to students in HBCUs, Black students only, in historically Black colleges, for example.
Yeah, bro, that's great news, Mama. Appreciate
So anybody else got any questions? I know we're running over, but we could go on and on and on, because we're not in this whole thing for an instant microwave answer. We know that our ancestors have given their lives, and we know we're going to give our lives. But Mama Tendai, you hit the nail on the head. That's why I talked about the Race First convention, because I know it's going to be a lot of young people there, a lot of young groups. A lot of them have some of the same kind of enthusiasm we have, and some of them want it instant. I wanted it instant when I was in my 20s. When I joined the UNIA, I thought the revolution was ready. I mean, it was going to happen. And I'm saying so, but it takes time. And Baba Mosi, I know you might have some more you want to add, but anybody, it's open for everybody. Other people that go ahead, Baba.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering if it is the language we're using in as Pan-Africanists in trying to appeal to African people to do certain things, especially the young people who, this is what, 2025, we're 25 years into the 21st century. And it seems that we somehow, there's young people, some places who are conscious of certain things and going in a certain direction. And in others, it seems like they're functionally illiterate, let me put it that way. Because no matter what you tell them, read to them, whatever they, like Baba Kelechi is talking about the financial, learning about finance, that we as a people need to understand um, uh, what finance means for the future of our young people. And somehow they're rejecting that because they're distracted by other things. What is the language so far that you feel is more successful reaching young people, Baba Kelechi? That in your appeal or your lectures or your attempts to educate people to think finance?
I'm not well. I mean, obviously, when you're talking to, I mean, I just did the the UNIA convention where I spoke to the youth about finance. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you speak to them on, where they are. You have to meet them where they are. And that's true with all people. You have to go where they are, meet them where they are. And, I think that young people are generally more receptive, if you come to them. I mean, it's just a matter of speaking their language. I'm not saying speaking their jive. I don't know the latest slangs. I'm not up on that, but I'm just saying just talking to them on a basic level, where they are, and they're usually very receptive to it. So I don't find that to be a challenge at all. We don't do it enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, we need to have more more activity at the university level, for these young people. We had some great brothers from Howard, engaging some of the Howard folks with some of the appeal work Appeal was doing, and so on and so forth. And we
Mm-hmm.
were actually working on and getting an actual official chapter set up, a youth chapter, at Howard right before the pandemic broke out. But we haven't gotten back on track with that. But it's just a matter of, going to where they are and speaking to them. I don't think there's anything special other than, you speak simply, you speak straightforward, um, to them. I mean, and, I'm always happy to do that. And I find that they're, receptive. We speak at schools, graduations, different groups, different programs. And I always find the youth very receptive, because they recognize that there's so much they don't know. And I think sometimes
Mm-hmm.
as adults, we have a harder time with that. I think the youth have an easier
Mm-hmm.
time with that, making them more receptive to the information. So yeah, comes down to meeting them where they are.
Mhm.
I
So
want
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mama.
I was just going to chime in, Baba. We first of all have to recognize that systematically, since prior to the civil rights, education has always been something that has been withheld from us. It was so important that, during enslavement, a person could be killed for becoming educated. So we have to
Mm-hmm.
recognize how the educational system itself has been used and not used. And systematically over the years, I'm looking at the data on a regular basis where not just the whole system is basically in turmoil and basically has been uneducating our children about themselves over the years. The era that we're in now says that we have to assume a greater responsibility for educating them because they're not going to get it in the institutions where they're locked in, because the majority of our children are in public school and they're not going to get it. When you go to public school, you will find out that most of those children have what do you say it, a holiday for Martin Luther King's birthday, but they have no idea who he is. Now, if they don't know who Martin Luther King is, we really can't expect them to
Right.
begin to think about what is Pan-Africanism, what is best for themselves other than the way they look and what they have in their hand. Okay. How they're dressed, how their hair, how their nails, it's that instant gratification that they have been fed. That's where they are. And I think we have to assume a greater responsibility to recognize that our children are hated by others. And we very often push them away because we look at them and say, look at that, look at how they're acting. But they belong to us. And if we can't embrace them and love them and try to turn them around, we can't expect anybody else to do it. They're ours.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Mama Tendai. And perhaps, with the little, I shouldn't say a little, with all that we are doing, we're just a drop in the bucket, uh, considering the number of young people, not just or in the US, but around the world, who we need to reach. And other people are reaching them. And what they're reaching them with is that subliminal type of messaging that is causing them to think just in the way you've described the way they're thinking. And perhaps we need to find a way to propagandize as well in bringing a different message to them. Perhaps we need to be scientific in the way we're doing it as well, and be just as subliminal in our messaging to them, so that they can, so that their consciousness can be aroused.
Yeah, the
Not just
workshop that the young people did for us and helping the youth to be able to decipher not just the words, but the way that media affects them.
Right.
Was one of the things that our young people who did the workshop focused on. And I'm saying most of them are unaware. And that's the major area that we do not control. And that is the media. And not controlling the media, we don't control the communications.
Absolutely.
So there's so much, that's our next frontier. I remember when we initially started, cable was in the hands, we had the Black Cable Organization that started off with it, and quickly it was taken from us because what it meant in terms of where we are now, and we lost control of it. So that's major.
Yeah, I remember the Black College Network back in about the 1980s, 1990s. And the thing is, with all of this new quote unquote smart technology, smartphones, apps, and everything else, we really had to become more proactive in terms of content creation to try to redirect the narrative.
Yes, indeed. Well, Baba Senghor, I'm not trying to take your place here, but whenever we're doing Freedom Friday Forum, I always like to throw in a little bit of Garvey's philosophy or opinions. And we're talking here about our people as a race, and how do we compare them? But within our race, Garvey had some things to say. And I'd like to read something here that should take about 5 minutes. And this is part of the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey. And this is titled "The Character of Races." Black and white are proportionately bad as well as proportionately good, living under the same conditions and environments of our imperfect civilization. All beauty, virtue, and goodness are the exclusive attributes of no one race. All humanity have their shortcomings. Hence, no statement of mine at any time must be interpreted as a wholesale praise of or attack upon any race, people, or creed. There are good and bad Catholics, Protestants, Jews, and Klansmen. I would not wholesalely condemn any one group of the human race for the selfish good of another. The Negro needs as much moral reformation as anyone else. He lies, he steals, and he breaks the commands of God like any other sinner. And his crimes merit the same punishment as meted out to others. No one can influence me to be against Jews because they are Jews, Catholics because they are Catholics, or Klansmen because they are Klansmen. I condemn evil wherever I find it, in friend or foe, but I do not carry prejudice to the innocent because of their friendship for or association with the evildoer, for whom they are not responsible. That is only one part. I'm saying this because we focus on our people and we try to get them together to do things, but we may be our own enemies. And that is that you also know that Marcus had said certain things about taking people to Africa. Africans some days because so and I'll close with that.
No, Baba Mosi, you know what you just said. If you upgrade that into the 21st century and what a lot of Garveyites like Marimba Ani said about the Urugu virus, and I heard Baba Kelechi in his presentation said we are our worst enemy. He said it. He said it because that's true what you just said. Because we have taken on, and Mama Tendai said it, we've been miseducated. We've been taken away from our roots and culture of who we are, the ability that we have. And it's our job. It's our job. That's why we got to be race first. That's why we had this race first convention, because too many of our people have been hoodwinked to think they can do it the Yoruba way. And the Yoruba virus is in too many of our people. And I love the way Baba Kelechi said, the youth. I believe, my personal belief is the youth got less virus in them than some of us. Because if it wasn't that way, then we wouldn't have raised our youth like that. You know, so we have to take on that responsibility. And I heard Baba Kelechi say that too. We're responsible for the condition that we're in. And it's not that the young people, all the old folks that think they know haven't shown the way to go. It's that simple. I mean, that's the Yoruba virus, in my opinion. And that virus we got to attack, whether or not it's in our own people, or whether before you can attack it outside, you're going to have to attack it in our own people. Because if you look at Africa, and I'm going to stop on this point, Baba Mosi, because you always make us think, man. That's one thing I love about you. You make us put on our thinking caps. There's more Africans in South America and in Africa than anywhere else in the world. And I guarantee you, if we do the kind of things that those of us know that we need to do based around building A.P.E.A.L, building the kind of other things that we need in other categories, because it ain't just going to happen economically. It's got to be all across the board, that those masses will show up quick when we can provide food, clothing, and shelter, security, and culture. And once those masses show up, they're not going to have the same problem some of our own youth that we've allowed to be poisoned with the Yoruba virus. Where and those are the youth you're talking about, Baba Mosi, but I'm telling you, we got to reach out to those brothers and sisters that are like minds of us. And it's enough of us. And I heard Baba Kelechi say that. And I'm going to close on this point. Baba Kelechi, I'm so happy to see the red so far up on that scale. Did you hear what I say? I'm so happy to see the red so far up on that scale, because that means by 2026, we're gonna make it there. Yep. We're gonna get it. And I love the fact of how you all are doing this fundraising and keep it going. That's consistency. 10 years ain't nothing. I mean, 10 years ain't nothing compared to what, you know, some of us have put in. I mean, many of us been at the vineyards for over 50 years. And so, and Baba Mosi, I know you've been at it longer probably than, well, you and Mama Tendai been at it longer than me and Baba Kelechi. But the fact of the matter is, we ain't tired yet. That's what our elders told me. They said they ain't tired yet. So we're going to make it happen, Baba. And whatever we need to do to provide the solutions, it's going to happen. And this marriage, Baba Kelechi, I'm going to be coming at you soon about getting a decree of Mahat with us, because that's not changing the direction. That's just making sure that we eliminate that virus that's out there of our brothers and sisters fighting one another and all that kind of stuff. We want to eliminate that and get to the work. So anyway, I'm going to stop on that point. I'm going to turn it over to Mama Tendai, because I appreciate the goddess energy. Goddess of the perfect black. So Mama Tendai, you got the last word, and you can close us out.
Not only do we need control over the media and the communications, but to also recognize our African intelligence, our ancestor intelligence, that the spirituality that exists within us, and the thing that has been taken away from us most, because it is the center of our energy and our ability to move forward. So I recognize that. I honor our ancestors. I open myself and I ask you to do the same thing in terms of accepting your own cosmic responsibility, because we don't die, as we used to say, we multiply. So as we move forward, race first.
Baba Kelechi, if you got any last closing words, please share it, and then we're going to close out. We thank you again.
Mama Tendai and said it all.
All right. Well, I mean, I just wanted to make sure that I turned it over.
We don't die, we multiply, Mama. I love that.
Exactly. I love you, and thanks, and congratulations again, Baba. You know, you're doing the work, brother, and I appreciate you, not just with A.P.E.A.L, all across the board, bro. You know, keep it going. Don't stop, because you're not just the next generation, brother. You got that ancestral energy from ancient times.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Well, you know, Baba Senghor, you have to remember something about the reason why the Baba got an award from us, the Marcus Mosiah Garvey Award. And not just, and that award also went to Baba Lasana. The very year that we recognize all the work he's doing. And we're saying, Baba Lasana looks tired. Baba Lasana is doing all this work. He looks like he's got the whole world on his shoulder. He walks off as if he's alone. He's got company in what he's doing. He's trying to, but I've seen him too many times leave a meeting, leave somewhere that he attended some function and walk off alone and parks his car a distance away as if he needs the time to think, to go and walk before he gets to his car. You see, he was given that award that time when I saw that last time, just before he passed. It was like something we saw. But really, I'm not saying that we gave you an award so that you can get away from us in that sense now, Baba Kelechi. But we have you spent a lot of time, the years that had passed with you, functioning in the position he had, carrying on A.P.E.A.L. We recognize you, my brother. We recognize your strength.
Baba
and
Mosi,
we love you for it.
Baba Mosi, you called on Baba Lasana, and we know that the ancestors are with us. And I would be remiss if I did not mention Baba Kelechi. Baba Lasana gave one of the most powerful messages in the Schaumburg at our 2014 100th centenary in 2014. Now you put that together, and he gave a tremendous message then. And I know that he is working his mojo with Renoko and all the ancestors are working their mojo on us, Baba. So you are right on point, Baba Mosi.
And that was the year he passed, actually. 20.
No, I know. That's what I said. Baba Mosi was right on point with what he just said. But that's Lasana coming through us because, brother, we know we spiritual beings having a physical experience, but we know spiritually we here forever. And that's why I commend you, Baba Mosi, for calling up Baba Lasana, because he is working his mojo and he finished his physical mission, but he ain't never gonna finish his spiritual mission. And Baba Kelechi, I understand how Baba Mosi tied that together because A.P.E.A.L didn't miss no steps, brother, thanks to you. That's the point, Baba. That's the point Baba is making.
Yeah, bro.
Because you stepped in and you have continued to carry that energy on, and we appreciate it. But Baba Mosi, I want to remind you that the spirit of Dessalines, the spirit of Garvey, the spirit of Thomas Sankara, the spirit of Joma, all of them are with us.
Yeah, bro.
And so we need to always recognize that. And I know Mama Tendai has always made sure, and Dr. Chinzara, we can't go nowhere without the ancestors. I mean, in fact, that's whose shoulders we stand on. Okay, so Baba, thank you. I want to turn it back over to Mama again, because I asked Mama to close us out, and she gave a statement. But the energy is so powerful. But this is just one session. We got plenty of more opportunities to build on this energy. So, Mama, I want you to take us out this time, Mama Tendai.
Baba, the way that we go out is everybody raise your right hand. And we say one God.
One God.
One God.
One aim.
One aim.
One aim.
One destiny.
One destiny.
One destiny.
Race first.
Race first and one Africa.
One Africa.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Everyone, have a good evening.
Hotep all.
Hotep.
It was wonderful having you.